Hi friends, Scott Charles Stucker here in Cathedral City, California, in the desert. It's July 30th, the year's 2026. They're saying that in a few days on the radio it'll be hotter than 120 degrees. The hottest it gets out here in the summer, I think the record is like 126 or something. In Palm Springs, I'm close to Palm Springs, Cathedral City, California, USA. And I want to make a video because I haven't made one in about a year or two, and I want to kind of go over some of the things that are happening at this time in the world. First of all, I don't want to sort of beat around the bush about it, but I think that the Trump administration is pretty much totally clueless, or they are, for whatever reason, just being silent about where they stand about supporting Ukraine. Donald Trump has basically said today, remember this is July 30th, the year is 2026. He's basically said today, after meeting with Zelensky in the White House yesterday, I saw the picture of them sitting together and talking, and I saw a picture of them standing together smiling. But I did not see the video because I don't think they put it on social media like as a news program or anything, because they didn't want to have maybe a messy outcome like they did a few years ago. Unfortunately, but it all gave us a chance to understand the true situation, and that we needed to investigate it a little deeper than just assuming that the USA wants to support Ukraine in their fight against Russia's aggression. And Donald Trump's basically said today he is on both sides. I mean, not like he's on both sides. He said, I am friends with both leaders and I want the war to end. He said 25,000 people died unnecessarily last month, and that he wants to see the killing stop, and he wants to see the death and destruction stop. So he wants the war to end. Well, what we, who are friends of Ukraine and supporters of Ukraine's defending themselves, totally justifiably, our message, I believe, together is that Russia is the aggressor, and we cannot stop this war because the angels or the good people of the universe or the planet Earth, whatever you would call us, righteous-minded people who follow Bible standards through the history of our forefathers and generations of humankind on this planet, trying to do the right thing all through history and promote basic principles of peace, love, and harmony in human society. Russia has proven themselves over the last 4 to 5 years to be animalistic barbarians who will stop at nothing to be inflicting their mercilessness and their death and destruction upon Ukrainian civilians. They do not target military targets. Most of the time it seems they target individual civilians as if they were on a jungle safari shooting zebras or giraffes or something. I don't know what the hell they are thinking or who's giving them the orders, but those war criminals must be tracked down and brought to justice. I believe they will be, surely not too far in the future, because the war is progressing in Ukraine's favor, and they seem, in my opinion, to definitely have the upper hand at this time. they, especially lately, we have realized that they are able to target and destroy logistical centers that are sort of like distributing centers, similar to maybe like Amazon warehouses where people order things and get them delivered and things. So maybe these are the distributing centers for those like smaller outlets that deliver those products. I'm not sure how they work. These places look massive. They're, you know, hundreds of thousands of square feet. Ukraine's burning them down with drones, little $1,000 toys, that anyone could operate. Surely a 9-year-old would have no problem, using these things. So Donald Trump left complete faith in him and his decision-making process. He seems to be some kind of puppet, maybe for the past, like a propaganda puppet for Russia. For the past few decades, I believe he has been controlled by Russia, possibly due to his family being offered, bribes of future business partnerships or with his family, or, maybe even cash on demand of possibly billions of dollars to be some kind of a secret agent all these years. I mean, all the way back to 2016. I still remember the night that Donald Trump won the election against Hillary Clinton. I knew that I had watched all the debates, and I knew that Hillary was the winner of those debates. It was kind of interesting because they were in Las Vegas, and I mean, there was a little bit of the influence of his Donald Trump resort being on the middle of the strip. It's hard to say that they weren't sort of on his side and almost like 100% sure that he was going to win. I don't know what the vote difference or margin was, but at the end, it was probably very unbelievably close. Just like with Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, who I voted for them. And it was, within like something like 6 or 7 million votes or something. It seemed like just too close for comfort. It was in a country where there's like 360 million folks, it's really sad that Trump won, because he's done a lot of damage to the poor's ability to support their basic needs and things, and he's already stolen so much, basically robbed from the poor and given to the rich. There's a what I would call a mafia controlling the United States, and it seems that the Commonwealth, the English, territories can't really do much about it, because they're, for one thing, England's so far away, and the monarchy doesn't have control over the government's, parliament's decisions to maybe take military action against certain things that happen with the United States. Maybe, I mean, why would Donald Trump threaten to take over Canada, which is part of the Commonwealth of England and Great Britain, and why did he threaten a NATO country to take over Greenland? I mean, he's done some ridiculous decisions, and right now, just like what Russia would do, is distract with all these crazy little speculative incidents that just happen on a daily basis. It's either one thing or another. It's constantly dragging out the situation of what could be possible in the Middle East, but we've already been through that for like 20 years. We were fighting in Afghanistan, and surrounded by places that supported basically evil regimes like Russia and China. At this time, China, I don't think they want a war like Russia does. Russia wants to take over the world, take over the United States for sure. And Trump should know that. I mean, he's acted like a fool about it, the way he's spoken, as if Russia was some kind of a ally of ours, when that's certainly not true. And Russia is preparing for a long-term takeover of Europe and then the United States. They're looking so far into the future, it's difficult for them to even take stock of where their situation presently is, which is pretty much hopeless in the financial sector and in their reality of their Russian Federation government. So, um, basically, a few years ago, I remember saying in a video that I believe that the oil refineries were going to have to be sanctioned, or they were going to have to be bombed or destroyed or something to shut down Russia's economy and to end the war, to force Russia to come to the negotiating table by way of, either forcing them to, by destroying their economy, or by arming Ukraine to the point where Ukraine is able to win the war. That will be another possibility of forcing Russia to surrender and negotiate some kind of a peace deal. Um, yeah, it's a little warm in here. I don't know, my air conditioner just went off. I don't know why, it's like, if it's really 120 degrees, like any day now. It's kind of funny. I can hear one next door though, just went on. So, I don't know. I went outside. It didn't seem as bad as, it didn't seem like 120. I mean, well, it's midnight, right? Yeah. And I shouldn't really go deep into this right now. This isn't really the subject, but I can't believe there's people that have to go and look for cooling centers and shelters out here in the desert. It seems that the Christian churches, whether Catholic or any denomination, would surely have some place where they could stay day and night without having to take buses around, or to be kicked out of the cooling center at like 8 o'clock or something, and then somehow they have to take a bus to where they could sleep all night, or somehow just get by from 8 till the morning or whenever the cooling centers are going to open again. I know there's a lot of help out here for, well, there's the rescue mission where I stayed in 2006. I've actually lived in this apartment since 2006. I flew back here from Acapulco. I was homeless in Laguna Beach, and then I sort of made a few trips to maybe like Santa Ana and Anaheim and San Diego, and then Tijuana and down to Acapulco, and then I flew back to Mexico City, and then back to LAX in early 2006. So I stayed at the rescue mission for a few months in the summertime, after staying at a sober living for a few months, and then I moved into here from Indio to Cathedral City. The sober living before that was Desert Hot Springs. That's where I first went from LAX. I went to my mom picked me up. She didn't even know she was supposed to pick me up. I didn't know. I had no plan of going anywhere in LA at all. I thought I was going to spend the night at my mom's house or something. It was weird. And what's even stranger than that is that I have not seen her house all this time. She has, it's not like a ranch or anything, but it's a normal house. She's had all kinds of like pets, like a parrot. She's had dogs and cats and unbelievable. Yeah, I think some wolves like jumped over the fence I mean, she actually had like a fence. I guess wolves can jump pretty high, and got one of the cats somehow or something. I mean, that's what we're figuring may have happened. It's hard to believe the cat ran away or something. I don't know. She's had various cats over the years. But wolves out here are dangerous. There's dangerous things out here. It's the desert, and people have no idea. In these desert cities, probably how many scorpions are out here. If they only knew, they'd probably not be living out here. You don't want to be, walking around the desert acting like there's nothing out there. That's dangerous. I mean, there's probably like snakes in a lot of places too that are like rattlesnakes, dangerous things. There's a zoo out here. I mean, there are a lot of animals that you could go see if you go to the zoo, and I think it's like Palm Desert or La Quinta, wherever it is. I haven't gone there, but they say it's pretty nice. I need to go up to the tram and take that up to Palm Springs and look out. I haven't gone up there yet. I'm waiting for the right person to go there with. I don't know if I said this in another video about my wife being like taken away from here. We were just having a normal wedding day, and I don't want to say it. You just have to look for that video if you want to know the story. But they took my wife away before we were able to get officially married, and it was on the wedding day. They took her to, like, I guess a nursing home because they said that the doctors said that they would take better care of her, I guess, than herself or me. And I knew her for about maybe 10 years or so or more, and just not very well. It was only in the past few years I started getting to know her better. And yeah, she left her ring. I haven't heard from her since. I figured they said she has a serious case of dementia, so I figure if she's able to find her way back here or contact me somehow, if she's got access to internet, I don't know. Somehow she was living alone and taking care of herself here, so we would hang out at her place or here, or outside. So they've had Lindsey Graham's funeral, I believe was maybe yesterday. And this is a heartbreaking story that Lindsey Graham had tried so hard to get this Russia Sanctions Act bill passed in Congress, which he wrote like years ago, and I had been supporting it on social media. I'd been trying to get people to see it, but barely anyone seems to notice me on X, and I'm not sure why. I mean, I've created definitely over 100 X profiles in the past since like 2008. I mean, like I moved in here in 2006, so October. So I guess that's when it'll be 20 years. I started using the internet, not right away actually, because I was kind of blown away at what I was seeing on cable. I was surprised that it was so bad. I was kind of in a trance with it for years. Trying to figure it out where the world was going. But really they were just sort of hiding the reality of what was going on with the computers. And I'd used the internet before and gone on and used computers at like the Laguna Beach Library or at my grandmother's house in 1999 when I was living there. I was working at the Prima Donna as a cage cashier, and I don't know how I was doing it, but I guess I was riding a bike to the I was riding a bike to the um, Vacation Village casino, and then we would take a tram bus from there to Prima Donna, and then back. And then I guess my grandmother would pick me up, or I would ride the bike back at night. It's kind of weird. I don't remember like putting the bike in her car, but I probably did. It's weird to think that I would have ridden the bike back there at night. I remember like going back and playing like at the gambling tables, like poker and uh, like trying to relax, drink beer and stuff. Um, so yeah, this Russia Sanctions Act, I believe that they possibly have passed it in the name of Lindsey Graham because they wanted to do that for him. But what this bill, I think, does is it doesn't give um, an automatic, extreme limitation to what Russia is trying to do with their oil. So what needs to happen is Donald Trump needs to use the power that he's been given with that bill. So basically, he's been given the power with the bill to legally sanction Russia according to his appropriation of whatever's the proper amount. It's basically up to Donald Trump. And if he does nothing about it, and I assume that he's not going to, I'm just completely emotionally devastated by his betrayal of his fellow colleague and Republican Senator Lindsey Graham, who went to Kyiv and said that they believe for sure this bill was going to get passed. And that's true, the bill got passed. I guess it sounds like it did a few days ago. It's just that is Trump going to use the power that the bill gives him to legally sanction Russia? So that's what he has to do. And I don't know, this video might not be seen by anyone. Maybe it's just a prayer in the heat of the night, in the desert here. What do we have to do to make him understand how important this situation with Russia is, that they need to be stopped immediately? I believe that Donald Trump has turned a blind eye to all kinds of things that have been happening unjustifiably. I don't know who's pulling his strings, but like I said, there is probably, most certainly, there a mafia of some kind that's controlling the USA, the United States of America government. And for that reason, it seems to me that even the Democratic Party cannot be trusted. Because it's a mafia and they are working for the Republican Party. Apparently, it would seem because they're rich. And, that's all they can think about is being on the clock. And that's one of the reasons they have marathon Senate sessions, probably, because they fly there and, they don't want to just go there for a few hours. No, they want to go all night long, drink their coffee, and here you can see I've got my AG1 with some chocolate super greens, and I've got some Pepsi mixed in with it. There's some cinnamon. Put a lot of cinnamon in there. Some sweet and low. What else did I mix in? Some super reds powder. So mixing all these things together helps me to have a little bit more clarity in the middle of the night, where Maybe I should be sleeping right now or hibernating or something. I am not the fucking Russian bear that you've heard so much about. I'm not even the California bear. I fucking hate. Well, I don't want to say I hate bears. I wonder. Oh my god, it's still going. It's totally tweaking out now. And, oh, here go the lights again. You don't have a chance of fucking escaping Ukraine or anybody because the whole world's gonna hunt you down to the ends of the fucking earth until they find you and bring you to the Hague in the Netherlands courts to bring you before a tribunal of judges, international court judges who can give you your maximum security prison sentence for life, or hopefully just some kind of firing squad or hanging or something or whatever you really deserve. I guess I don't know those things because I'm not on some sort of court. I only get jury duty notices, but I try to get out of them because, I've gotten so many of those. I can't believe it. It's like, seriously, like every year at least. And I don't know how to tell them, I'm just not going to go. No. I'm not going to go because you are already saying that I'm officially mentally disabled, which obviously the whole world could realize by now isn't true. Just look at my ex profile. Go all the way down. Scroll down for the past, what I've been posting almost every day for the past year. Look at my art. Look at the things I've said. Look at the things I've retweeted and posted. And just use your fucking brain for a second for 10 seconds to get it right. Please, 15 minutes. When will I get my 15 minutes of fame? When somebody important fucking sees my ex profile? I don't know. I don't seem to get any. I don't get any attention there at all from anyone. I guess that's a good thing. So I'm not going to worry about it, you know. Whoever's meant to see it will. Whoever's meant to see or hear this will. You know, they don't have to stare at me. They could just listen to it, get the point, you know, for what I'm saying. Um, because I'm trying to tell the truth, you know. And if the truth is the Bible, I mean, I saw a little of what could have been interpreted as a tense interaction between Zelensky and Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, who I believe is genuinely a sincere devotee of righteousness in his heart, you know, and he's been that way all his life. He's not the king of the Jews or anything. He's not Jesus. He's a definite Jewish man, a Hebrew speaking and loving Hebrew person who wants the best for God's chosen people, the Jews. We agree with this because we see as Christians, we've seen their practices and their past teachings and their scriptures, and realize that those are in harmony with what we believe is the God that lives in our hearts, who we call Jehovah God. Generally, most countries, if you were to pronounce God's name, the Jews have respect for God's name. They don't want to pronounce it. And you'll notice they wear the black hats sometimes. I wore one in a synagogue as a child. We had a black sort of beanie type thing. A cloth head covering. You know. My hair isn't long right now. It's short, gray on the sides. I've got kind of a gray beard coming in like normal every few months. I shave, and no, Russia, there is the possibility that they could use nuclear weapons, I guess, but I know that China will not support that, because China wants to take over the world slowly, and they believe that they're winning. They believe that in the long term, they are definitely going to be the most powerful nation. So they might try to fight for Taiwan's sovereignty to steal that from them. But they are thinking twice about that too, because we might get involved in that for various reasons. You know, there's a lot of Asians in California who obviously don't agree with all the evil fucking Asian shit in the Asian continent. Basically, it's come down to only Japan as being a trustworthy ally. And, you know, I mean, how does Hawaii feel about Japan after what happened so long ago, 80 years ago? 1941 in Pearl Harbor. I took a glass bottom boat in Pearl Harbor. As a child, I've seen that location. It's heartbreaking what happened, and it's sad to think that Japan is the one that did it, because, you know, that is our only ally left that is not fallen to communist dictatorships. The worst ones are basically China, because it's so big, but we could say the worst one is really North Korea, because of how evil they are and how much they hate the United States of America. Just like Iran, which I guess used to be called Persia. Iran is the formal name for it. So they changed that. But everybody enjoyed calling it Persia, probably because it sounded like the word virgin or something. Persian virgin or something, you know. So yeah, it's Iran technically, and Iran is maybe more appropriate name, considering how they are definitely not reminiscent of any kind of innocence or virginity. They are super evil. Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps, whatever they are. They are still bombing U.S. targets, according to many news sources, and this is happening on the breaking news on the front line of all the media is that we are fighting a real war with them, and a lot of it, our involvement with it possibly could have something to do with a desire for a share in the oil profits, because I have no idea why we haven't taken over Karg Island yet. They said we bombed it, but we didn't overthrow it, when it's not a very large place, and we would have control over Iran's economy. If we did, that would be their government, I mean, that would be everything, because they've got 90 fucking million people there. They need the money from the oil. And I guess we don't really want to babysit them, so maybe we're trying to sort of take our share and give them a little bit to carry on, But if they're going to keep bombing us, and because Iran basically, I think if they had even one nuclear weapon, they would shoot it towards Israel. It probably takes a lot of nuclear bombs to destroy, like a place like Russia or something. It would probably take because they got nuclear bomb sites, they got a lot of them, just like USA does, and it would probably take hundreds of nuclear bombs to do a significant permanent damage to them where they could not recover, and be what they are now, ever again. So, with Trump's personal business taking, interest in advancing his financial capacity with him and his family, we don't really know why he's acting so ridiculous about everything. There are reports that our stockpiles are depleted, almost, and, we could look at that as maybe that's the reason we're not supporting Ukraine as much as we would like to, maybe, perhaps, because Donald Trump has said outspokenly recently that Russia is our adversary. Well, that's a good start, but now that the sanctions bills are passed, you have to do your part and make sure that if Russia sells or buys oil from anyone, they are sanctioned 500%, and they just won't be able to do it. Because even in the month of July, it's either the month of July, or it could have been one day. It could have been 1 week, but what I found out yesterday or earlier today was that 80 billion rubles have been withdrawn from Russian banks by their citizens. They know that the government is going to take their money and use it for the war interests and to advance their prospects and land gain, which they barely advanced at all over the past 4 or 5 years. They're losing, now the numbers are up to 1,400,000 and something thousand casualties, and that's, Putin is planning, after his fake election in this coming November or October, he's planning a mass mobilization of soldiers. They'll take their best people and send them to this merciless meat grinder. Ukraine, what do you expect them to do when these fucking people come across on donkeys and bicycles and motorcycles, or just whatever they can, They're just running like football players. What do you expect Ukraine to do? When Russia is burning families in their beds with their children asleep at night, it's fucking disgusting what's happened in Ukraine. And we've seen these people screaming for help while they are on their patio waiting to burn alive, and the help cannot arrive. Do they jump to their deaths? I don't know. I don't see like more than a few minutes of these things. You know, they don't show that much. I don't know if I would want to watch it. I mean, but the reason I look at what I do is because, or what I have looked at, sorry, I apologize. I watch it because I need to know the truth. You know, I'm not God, but I am concerned. I wonder if there's a way I could do more than just pray for their betterment or their survival, their victory at the end of the war. Russia will not have a victory, and it's hard to believe they're going to nuke Ukraine or anywhere because they just don't have the support from the other evil countries around there, like India, who has a powerful military. There's like 750 million people in India, 750 million people in China. China doesn't support nuclear war. Pakistan, they don't want nuclear war. They're not big enough to survive it. And India, obviously, they're evil, but they're basically sort of greedy evil, if that makes sense. They just want the money. They don't necessarily want people to be tortured or anything like that. They're just very greedy. Their government is. So India is. We have to look at them as a bad guy until they are not so greedy. So that they're on Russia's side. I mean, you know, they are still buying, you know, Russian oil somehow. Somehow they're still supporting Russia. It's amazing what they're doing. I can't believe it. Almost, you know, but it's true. It's true from trusted, reliable news sources. And thank God we have X to show us things that the media won't show us, because a lot of it really is the fake news. Trump always calls the media the fake news, but if he's talking about America, a lot of ways he's true, you know? And like I said, I know the camera started going crazy when I started talking about the mafia. Well, let me just illustrate that a little bit by saying there are 25 million millionaires in the United States. And maybe they don't have that in cash, but they have assets that total that. And that is the same thing. You know, if you could sell a house, it's not too easy to take a little loss. Hey, if it's a $10 million house, sell it for $9.5. Whoa, you know, what's that? You know, $9.5 million in cash, possibly. You know, it's disgusting that our mafia is controlling USA. You know, I get Social Security like a retired person. I mean, I'll turn 55 in a few months, in October 14th. I was born in 1971. My sun sign for the Western Zodiac is Libra. The same as Vladimir Putin, unfortunately. He's disgraced our spiritual tribe, or whatever someone might refer to it as, our soul of our astrology, our zodiac, constellation beliefs, you know. Maybe that's not really what he is. I mean, who cares, you know, what he is? Fuck him, you know. Fuck Putin, fuck Russia. Russia's a terrorist state. They deserve to burn in hell for not running away or, you know, risking their life to try to escape. I've seen people escape and try to escape on videos, they filmed it, and stuff. It can happen. So, I don't know. I think they need to try harder. But really, maybe they're just not informed enough about how badly Russia has mistreated Ukrainians, not only in Ukraine, but in their own prisons, starving them, almost starving them to death, and, you know, barely feeding them. And there's been unbelievable cases of POWs not being fed properly and coming back. I mean, Zelensky had to basically, in front of the whole world, show Donald Trump some pictures of POWs who were not being fed, how skinny they were, and he was begging for mercy, from Donald McDonald Trump, God damn it. Can't you even look at the fucking picture for a second in front of the whole world and try to say there's not something wrong going on there? Everybody in an American prison usually gets fed, but these new prisons that are popping up because of the ICE agents and shit. I don't know if they're feeding the people that they call immigrants, who were, many of them were in the fucking Marines and shit, and they send these people to where, Ecuadorian prison or something. I don't know. It's crazy, what they've done to many military members who the ICE agents have said that they are not American citizens legally, because maybe they weren't, I don't know, maybe they weren't born here. I mean, well, regardless of the fact, how do you join the military? I mean, how do you go and defend the country if you're not a citizen? See, it's just, I don't need to get deep into that subject. It's just ridiculous that they would arrest people like that and deport them. So, a lot of the people that came across, some of them did commit crimes, but what's that got to do with giving people an opportunity for freedom, just like New York? That's where Donald Trump is from. Where did his relatives come from? Ireland or somewhere? Who knows? Italy. Where does Trump come from? He comes from Queens. I don't know where his ancestry is linked to. His family heritage before America. His Mar-a-Lago Palace is in the USA, in Florida. I think a lot of the things are distracting from his crimes that he committed, possibly with related to Jeffrey Epstein and all the trouble that was associated with that, and all the important business people and names internationally that were involved in that. I mean, we had to feel a little bit of sadness for that, because there were some names that were involved in that, like the former Prince Andrew, who had his titles stripped from him. That's not something I'm going to hide the knowledge of. It's true that Prince Andrew was a well-respected member of the monarchy and a brother of who is now the reigning king. Thank God, Prince Charles III. Oh yeah. So all we got to do now, basically, is the goal is to stop all these wars and find a way to reverse the aging process before, it's too late to save the King of England, and hopefully the Queen, and hopefully all of the members of the royal family, and everybody on Earth after that. That's the plan God has put in my heart, and I feel I've been sincere. How many times, have I prayed? Have I made a sincere devotional effort to try to investigate the terrible things that are happening in the world internationally, and try to hopefully support a solution for all these problems. Many times is the answer. Many times I've passed out in this chair. It's never enough, Coke or Pepsi or whatever I'm drinking. Sometimes Diet Coke, sometimes this is wild cherry Diet Pepsi. But it's mixed with the health shake. So I can stay up a little longer, But I'll try to balance it out. I'll eat a salad before I go to bed. Put some Thousand Island and some mozzarella, shredded cheese, and put some spices in it. Chipotles, mixed Mrs. Dash and Cayenne Organics, and what else I got? I put things in the salad that are good. That's all I know. I make good salads. Caesar would be proud or envious. I think a lot of people were confused over the years listening to Phil Collins and thinking, that this Vladimir Putin guy was able to come to his senses and try to be a part of the good things of the world, like sort of a what if Phil Collins was the president of Russia type of thing. There was maybe that understanding, and I mean Paul McCartney even went there and had a relationship with Vladimir Putin. You see them speaking and walking as friends. Seemed like they had a very clear understanding of their togetherness and some kind of relationship they had. So, Paul McCartney performed in Russia many times. There's a lot of people in Russia that are not evil-minded. They're more like slave mentality because they've been under this oppression for far too long. It's hard for me to look at a slave on a video and try to understand their way of life or their point of view, or the things they're complaining about. They sound like a child to me. I mean, knowing that their situation is so hardcore under control by their government, their so-called Russian Federation of the Kremlin, the so-called fucking Kremlin crap, fucking whatever it is, those Christmas decorated palaces of nonsense, I mean, the last good thing we saw there was like the Tom Hanks movie or something, where he was like working as a FedEx guy and talking to the Russians about getting the packages delivered quickly. And, oh man. Then he goes to the island like Hawaii. I like to watch that movie sometimes. Not all of it, but some of it, because I like the way that the cameras show the island. The Hollywood cameras showed it really good. It reminds me a lot of when I was in Hawaii for 6 months in 1998. And I just sort of get a little deja vu feeling from it. I miss Hawaii, I love Hawaii. But there's some things about Hawaii that just get under my skin, They have these like, you can call them little dragons, caterpillar dragon things. Some of them could be a foot long, They run around real fast, and they're like kind of red and white, I guess mostly red dragons, and they're a little frightening. Most of them are pretty small, but there's big ones. There's these like spiders. They're like called cane spiders. They look like tarantulas. They're big like that, and those seem first they barely ever seem to appear, and then it seems like the longer you stay there, it seemed like the more I started to notice them, like in strange places, like where people had like built things like wooden shelters, and not like an outhouse. I don't remember seeing one in there, but like maybe an outdoor kitchen area or something, or like a outdoor sleeping structure with that was made mostly out of wood, places like that. There's sharks, obviously, near Hawaii. I know that probably nothing can deter the surfers of Hawaii from, going there and doing what they do, because they enjoy surfing so much. It's like their heart and soul, their way of life. It's just everything about their spiritual being, resonates with the ocean and the waves, and uh, so it's like I haven't heard of any popular surfers being eaten by sharks or anything. But they will attack a pro surfer. There was a contest in like South Africa, and I think his name's Mick Fanning from Australia, was attacked by a shark. I mean, it was more than just a little pass by, seeing it underwater or something. I mean, it was a definite. The shark was really trying to get at him, and he had to fight it. He had to hit it, with his board a few times and stuff. People, other surfers were like swimming towards him or trying to help him, but the sharks have no, I guess, distinction between um, pro surfers or anybody they normally would attack. I don't hate the ocean, but I hate sharks. I hate any kind of monsters, and that's just another reason why I'm not completely head over heels in love with Hawaii. But I do believe it's a paradise. I believe, from a spiritual point of view, if like God was a giant in the universe or the galaxy, looking down, I mean, I think that Hawaii would be like a marijuana bud in a bowl, a water bomb, and I totally mean that. It's like if you're there and you look at the scenery, sometimes you're high on the natural weed there. It just looks like a giant bud, kind of. If you've seen a lot of them, I've seen enough of them to believe that. And it's beautiful. There's waterfalls and flowers and stuff. It's like a garden in a lot of places. It's like a lot of ways. It's like a paradise. So, oh well, here I am. I don't know how to get out of here because I got all this furniture in here. You can't see very much of it because the other half of the apartment is the other side of this TV. I was lucky enough to get a 70-inch TV delivered here for just like maybe like $420 or something from Best Buy, and I remember seeing them walking towards here with this box in their hand. I was like, "You guys aren't carrying that," I was standing there in shock. Two guys just carried this thing. I mean, I could say putting it on the chair and just taking it out of the box and putting it on the chair and the nightstand here, dresser kind of thing. After that, it's like the word "hey" was redefined, or undefined. It's just "hey" is I got it, Hey, what the hell? what is this feeling, you know? And I got the same feeling when I brought in a king size mattress, and I can't show that on the video right now, but it looks like it would need a couple people to carry it, and so I didn't really carry it, but I from the parking lot, I just sort of like roly pulleyed it, sort of like over, you know, one edge at one ledge at a time, like a slinky or something, or yeah, what are those things called? Shrinky dinks. I think that was the name of the band. What's that one called? Every morning there's a halo. Um, Mark McGrath. Sugar Ray is the band. They play that a lot on the radio. Sugar Ray's pretty cool. They were in the Scooby Doo movie, playing in Hawaii. One of those Scooby Doo movies. Well, they are getting a little energy from this drink, so I think I will continue on. It's a little before 2 a.m. It's 1:43 a.m. right now. And I guess Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, Vladimir Zelensky, and the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, they seem to have an exchange of words at the funeral, and although the exchange seemed to end in a positive rhetoric or a, you know, agreement of the shared goals that these places that are fighting constantly terrorism have, it didn't seem like they were possibly. There seemed to be a little confusion there for a little bit in the conversation, and maybe Zelensky was a little possibly disappointed that, you know, there was one time where Israel didn't vote against the Russian aggression in the United Nations, just maybe like a year ago, or maybe it was 2 years ago, I'm not sure. But I was very disappointed by that. I didn't understand, but we don't really know who's controlling things behind the scenes or why things happen the way they do. You know, this could all be some kind of like movie or something. I mean, a lot of times I don't want to believe that these people are really being tortured, obviously. So if I see this stuff on X, some of the videos that show people where they say they're burning alive and stuff like that, or I don't want to think that it's real. I don't want to think that it's not like some kind of movie. I mean, I remember seeing like the firefighters walking through a bombed building, and the handrails in there were like had what looked like Nazi symbols on them. I mean, the way they were built but that's just a stupid design, you know. I mean, someone who doesn't know anything about that stuff, so what, you know? It's like you could trace that back to like Indian tribes and stuff. I mean, it's just the way you sew the embroidery with some shirt or something, you know. Nazi symbols. Vladimir Putin said that the Nazism of Ukraine was the reason they were trying to take control, because they wanted to denazify Ukraine. Well, that's ridiculous, because they've been the ones to show what a Nazi really is, to remind us that Hitler was real. Most likely, most surely and certainly, the Nazi Third Reich was completely something that really happened, and that the kids need to know this, and everybody in the world needs to wake up, stop working or whatever they're doing, and focus on the evil in the world until we can have a real solution that stops it immediately. It just cannot go on. And like I said, I don't want to believe it, but I don't want to believe it's real. But I have to believe that there's too much evidence to support that it is real. So going back to the Nazis, we know that Jehovah's Witnesses were, I definitely believe, they were imprisoned in Nazi German concentration camps. They could have been any nationality. They could have been German, not just Jehovah's Witnesses of other countries around there. Um, any Jehovah's Witnesses at that time were imprisoned and abused, tortured in Nazi concentration camps, and unfortunately, we have a situation where the Russians are imprisoning the Jehovah's Witnesses again, as the German Nazis did. So that's more proof that they are the ones who are imitating the Nazis. Um, in a similar confusing situation and misunderstanding, obviously, is with Ukraine needing their people to resist Russia in every way possible. And if that means they have to join the military and not be a Jehovah's Witness for a little while, They say that they've been, on Jehovah's Witnesses' website, they say they've imprisoned Ukrainian Jehovah's Witnesses, and sadly, they also said that they have a clause in the Ukrainian constitution which allows for a conscientious objection to war in that country, where their government, the Verkhovna Rada, so to speak, is located and controls their Putin calls it the Kyiv regime. It's a government that is a militia, I guess, temporarily, because the military has to control the government temporarily, and that could be the reason why they are just deciding who goes to war, who joins the military, who's able and capable of serving their country in this desperate hour of where, any person, if they're Jehovah's Witness, in my opinion, I know they don't want to die. They don't want to, I don't know. They have a constitution that allows for this clause, so what should they do about it? I don't know. We're going to find out the answers to all these things later, but for now, I don't think it's the worst thing to do to support their military. It seems like there's basically one guy who's controlling all the drone attacks. Magyar, not sure how to pronounce his name. Is it Peter Magyar? That could be confused with the new president of Hungary, who has betrayed Ukraine. After all those supporters, and we pushed so hard on social media to get him elected after the fall of the Russian supporter, Viktor Orban, who was definitely an evil supporter of Russia, who was a greedy, bad person. Well, we can't trust this new guy, Peter Magyar, but the name might be the same for the guy who is sending the drones and controlling where the targets go. I think he has the video yesterday with Jay Kyiv or Kaylin Robertson in Kherson or Odessa. I think he lives in Odessa with his partner, his soulmate husband, or I don't know if LGBTQ people call if there's two men, if they call them husband and wife, I don't know which one would be which. Um, no disrespect intended. And congratulations on that union of your life partner's choice and togetherness for the future and present and past. So in that video, they were saying that there was like a room where Kalen was invited to go. He's talking in like a bread grain farm or something, and he was talking about the room that had the TVs in it. So yeah, those TVs have all kinds of possibilities of targets that the drone operator can target. So he's going to decide where those drones are going. And Kalen said that Peter Magyar, the Ukrainian officer, general, whatever he is, he's a general probably, commander, lieutenant or something, colonel, whatever. What is the highest rank? I don't know. Admiral, probably colonel's the highest rank, maybe, or lieutenant. He decides which targets are going to be. And what he said was that he's sort of breaking Russia down mentally, intentionally, mentally, to get the people sort of turned against the government because they're so brainwashed into supporting, no matter what choice the government makes, they think that it's for their own good, which is a total lie. You know, Russia's just a giant fucking concentration camp, you know, and we don't know how many people are in prison there, but the way they dealt with Alexei Navalny, I mean, man, that was just unbelievable what they did to that person who was so real, you know, and all he was a political opponent, and they murdered him. And his family, his mother, his family testified to the fact that he had been murdered by Putin and his thugs, because Putin is part of a Russian mafia type thing. That's what their government is. I mean, we don't want to see the Kremlin not burnt to a fucking cinder, you know? Burn it to the ground completely, immediately. That's the plan, you know, and there is no other plan. If Donald Trump wants to help, well, he should have done that yesterday, but at the very least he could do it tomorrow. And so I suggest, highly suggest strongly that he should advise that he will sanction Russia to the limit, and there will be, what Lindsey Graham said in his bill, a 500% increase of anyone who buys or sells from Russia in any way, you know, and mostly that's going to be involved with their oil sector, I guess. Man, you know, I mean, part of this video is a celebration. I mean, I am happy right now. I'm not happy, but I'm positive minded. I mean, I'm in a joyful type of situation, knowing that Ukraine is about to save not only themselves, but the whole world from Russia. And then, what are they going to do? Well, who's been sending all these Shahed drones? What's the other one called? I don't want to say it, even if I know it, but the Shahed ones, and that have been doing all this crazy damage, totally destroying places like McDonald's, places like kindergartens, places like maternity hospitals? Is it because Russia thinks there's soldiers hiding in there? Possibly, but that's not a good enough excuse when they've killed so many civilians on the streets. They bomb buses, they bomb old people's cars, they bomb people who are just running or walking down the sidewalk. I mean, Russia is, if there is a hell, I understand why. Because some people are just so fucking animalistic and barbaric, they didn't know how to get their fucking head out of their ass for fucking 3 seconds and do the right thing for once. Be human, act human, act like a fucking man, What are you doing in a goddamn suit like you're some kind of sophisticated gentleman? You are a lying sack of shit who belongs in a fucking sewer beneath the city streets, and till the day you fucking die and choke on your goddamn vomit. When you're starving, you start eating your fucking own diarrhea, puke. Fucking sick son of a bitch. You and all your fucking mafia people. And goddamn it, Trump, I'm playing video games. This video game gets my mind off of all his bullshit. His lies 24/7. This Iran situation, I can't even believe it, I can't look at Trump, I can't listen to him. I have to go, at the very least, I have to go all the way to the top of New York or wherever that filming location is for Jesse and the 5, can't think of their fucking names, I'm so stressed out. I mean, there's some women, that say some interesting, smart things sometimes. And Jesse, what has he got? He's got to tell the truth sometimes. He's at the top of the fucking world, in New York. For the media, at least. But he could be a propaganda puppet, too. We don't know, There's YouTube videos that are made by people that are sincerely following the smaller details about what's happening in the Middle East, and I could look to those. Cappy Army, CAPPY Army is one. The Military Show is another. Those are both excellent YouTube channels. There's a lot of Ukraine channels that are super informative, like obviously Anna from Ukraine. I'm sort of plugging that right now with some little video boost here, and wearing her shirt on the air here. So yeah, okay, so this video is 1 hour and 19 minutes so far. I don't really know what else to talk about. I don't want to go on too long about nothing, Nothing really much is coming to mind other than the truth right now of what's going on. I've seen videos a few hours ago of thousands of Ukrainians in Kyiv subways. I'd like to post all these things, but I have to get on with my life and not look at every little thing and think that it's going to save the world. When nobody's even, probably sees my channel, barely anyone. it looks like. So, I mean, I could follow a bunch of like NAFO accounts and probably get up to probably 5,000 at least followers from NAFO people, and you know, a lot of them might be interested in what I'm reposting for sure, because I have some basic places that I go. I look at sometimes I look at Maria Avdiva, her page, or I look at Kate from Kharkiv. I look at her a lot, and her posts, and Jay and Kyiv, Anna from Ukraine, Elks Summer. I think it's just one word, LX Summer. That one shows a lot of what the damage that's happening from Ukrainian drones in Russia. So, you know, these refineries are going down. Their money system is collapsing. I mean, like, something like 3 trillion rubles. I mean, these are legitimate facts. Russians cannot ignore these. Are legitimate numbers that cannot be confused about. So, what are they going to do? You know, probably turn against their government at some point. That might be the plan of the drone people that shoot the drones towards Russia. I think Ukraine is going to possibly save the whole world by shutting down Iran if we can't do it in the USA. I mean, what the hell happened in Afghanistan? We were there for 20 years because of 9/11, and then we supposedly left 85 or more billion dollars worth of modern military equipment there. I don't understand what happened with that, although I was watching very closely the news while they were trying to evacuate there. I mean, I saw the people falling off of planes. There were people climbing onto the wings, you know, trying to do anything to get inside because they were worried about the Taliban government executing them, I guess, and they wanted to escape to the USA in the planes that were leaving for America, the United States. So, you know, thank God Ukraine's just probably has the power militarily to save the world. We just don't know for sure. You know, Kalen said yesterday on his video that we just hope for the best, but we don't really know what's going to happen. At the very worst, somehow Russia could get the power to turn Ukraine into communist slaves again of the USSR, Soviet Union, Iron Curtain, whatever it was before. We never really knew how bad it was here. I grew up in Las Vegas, where I was born, and in Southern California, near Laguna Beach and Laguna Hills. And I always thought Russia was, from the media's propaganda, and seeing that Russia was some kind of ally of ours. And, you know, they are on the United Nations Security Council. If that, whatever they call a permanent position, I don't care. These crimes need to be addressed immediately, and Russia needs to be kicked out of the United Nations, the United Nations Security Council, anything that has to do with Russia, because there is no fucking Russia. It's a dream that will not stand with the technology that's being developed, that's already available to people. I mean, I'm looking at God right now, you know, right in front of my face. What do I see? A 70-inch TV. Nobody's taking it from me. The mafia can't take it. I got it for like $420, you know? If it breaks down, I'll get another one. I've got an Xbox, thousands of crazy games. They cost a lot of money, you know. I've been playing Forza 6 recently. That's a hell of a driving game. It's totally, you know, it's not my style though, you know, because I think Grand Theft Auto 6 will be a lot better when it comes out, because Forza has all these ways of tuning the car very intricately and stuff, and so it's hard to get the right adjustment to where you can just play the damn game and turn the car the right way. I've seen all these videos of, you know, like that tricky kid, what's his name? You know, nobody can control the fucking video game for Forza 6. These are like people with tens of millions of subscribers. You know, you don't want to screw up um, their walkthrough video of your trying to rate your video game. But it's weird like that. So it's all tweaking out on the control, and I don't like it that much because of it. But the scenery is beautiful, and it's fun to drive fast around beautiful locations. And I don't know if the map is 100% accurate, but you know, that and other video games, obviously, like Star Wars if I feel like it, or other games I have, you know, those Battlefront games were totally ahead of their time. I mean, it's hard. I played them so much that I sort of burn out on them pretty much, and I haven't really got back to them for a long time. So mostly, I've played a lot of Lord of the Rings over the past 15 or more years, and a lot of Gems of War. So I finally settled on the controller for Xbox works a lot better with Gems of War, and so I had to leave behind a lot of Gems of War accounts on like Nintendo. I had a couple of those consoles, and I had a PlayStation 4 that I was using for a lot of years. Most of my games are on that, but I don't really miss those games that much. You know, I've just rebought some of them, like even Call of Duty. I mean, you know, I'm not 100% against playing war in a video game if it gives us a better understanding of what we might face in the future, of how we might need to react to war. I mean, to fight in a situation where we have a machine gun, or we're facing people that have weapons, you know. So these distractions will help me during Trump's term of lies, and I don't know if anything could save USA from the mafia, which is based on, you know, like the crypto crap empire of confusion, which it only seems like Bitcoin has any chance of increasing their value over the years. So all these other thousands of crypto companies, I think, don't even have a chance. They're totally hopeless, and they steal from people who are just getting involved and see it like this little stupid Nazi symbol, like it's a fucking Pokemon character that they can play with, you know, and feel like they're a part of some alliance of that's gonna care for them eventually and make their stock trade resources go up, you know, which it won't happen. How many people invested in Donald Trump's fucking meme coin and lost billions of dollars? I mean, hey, isn't he the president of the USA, the most powerful man in the world? Which you can obviously see when he has a press conference at the White House with somebody like Vladimir Zelensky and other important people who are standing by, like members of the media, like Caitlin Collins, who Donald Trump fucking shredded to pieces at his dinner gathering the other night. You know, what the fuck, you know? How dare you disrespect a woman like that, who's tried so hard to show the truth about what is happening in the United States of America, in the USA. She's always done an excellent job, and I've always commend her sincere efforts. I love her. I love you, Kaylee Collins, and thank you so much forever for your sincere efforts. And but God bless your marriage. Your union, may that be everlasting as well, ma'am. Um, I guess she was married recently. AOC, uh, Alexandria Ocasio Cortez. I love you, and I love your um, what seems to be a wholehearted, sincere attempt to make the USA a better place. Thank you, and I hope that you will be the president next time. I don't know who else could be more qualified. I can't believe the United States has not elected a woman yet, but because of the mafia, I don't believe, and because I've changed my devotion to serving the monarchy of England's interests, the King of England, most notably, and his Queen, um, Camilla Bowles, the third, or the King of England, Prince Charles, King Charles the Third, and his wife. Thank you to William and his wife, and for Harry to support the war in Ukraine, how he's gone and given some speeches there and tried to help people see that England is definitely on Ukraine's side. And most recently, the new Prime Minister, farewell to Keir Starmer, who I considered a close uh, friend in our camaraderie towards serving Ukraine's best interests in the war against Russia's aggression. And um, thank you to all the people that are helping, like Ursula von der Leyen and people of the European Union and the European Council. Um, just the little red-haired girl. I feel like Charlie Brown right now. I love that woman. But I don't think about their names too much. I just kind of watch their videos. I mean, I watch a lot. The Poland's president's wife makes videos, and she's super knowledgeable about what is going on with Ukraine and Russia, and I've learned a lot from her as well. She reminds me of a woman from my neighborhood who lived a couple doors down, 3 doors down, and she was Inga. Not Inga from Sweden. Inga from possibly Inga from Germany or something. I don't know. She seemed very European, but yeah. Inga and so the world will be safe someday, I believe, soon, and Trump will be gone. He won't be able to lie no matter what people are pulling his strings and telling him what to say or do. And do I believe our ammunition is being depleted? I think Trump said that we're making a lot of ammunition fast, so we're good at making it probably as fast as we're losing it. But as far as sharing it with Ukraine, Zelensky says that the European countries, whatever promises they made, they deliver on those immediately. And the USA has Patriot missiles that Ukraine needs, because even tonight, like I said, there's thousands sheltering in the Ukrainian Kyiv capital subway systems, because many ballistic missiles and other things were launched towards Ukraine just tonight, earlier, or yesterday. It's after midnight. It's 2 in the morning. 2:17. And Iran is shooting ballistic missiles towards U.S. targets in the Middle East. These are things that do incredible amounts of damage to targets. I mean, at the beginning of the war, you saw in Saudi Arabia it was like a 7-star hotel or something, and the ballistic missile hit the side. I mean, how dare they do something like that? You know, Iran will not recover, in my opinion. If the USA has shut them down, Ukraine probably will sooner or later. And just thank God Ukraine's able to do it. I really know for sure. I've seen plenty of evidence of the technology. All the videos of their attacks towards oil refineries and stuff, nothing can stop them. Even the people who are filming the video in Russia say, "Where is our air defense?" They say it all the time. Like, how is this fucking little toy airplane flying and, destroying these oil refineries? These oil refineries fucking... Imagine, they burned it down like yesterday, an oil refinery that was producing over 200,000 barrels a day of oil. Was it barrels or was it tons? It doesn't really matter. It's a fucking hell of a lot, ain't it? Sure sounds like it. It seems like it. Those places, they're going down. Russia, I think, is using a lot of their defenses towards protecting certain targets, like Putin's private billionaire residences that are located, scattered around locations in Russia. And, he can only hide for so long. I mean, Russians will not escape. They'll have to be on lock. At the very least, they'll be on lockdown for their lives, and they'll have to be investigated individually as to how they participated in the what I call the Second Holocaust, World War III. It's happening now. People are ignoring it because they're greedy. Everyone is in it for the money, no matter what they do, no matter what country they live in. And sadly, I could be like that too. I mean, look at me. You can see I'm obese. I'm addicted to food. I don't want to be obese. I want to be healthy. I'm a little bit stressed out, and part of it is that. Part of it is partying, because I know that things are going in the right direction. I mean, like, I always thought that good was going to triumph over evil, and part of it is like just, I don't know, things are getting better all the time. Trump's going to be gone. We don't deal with his lies anymore. The video game will distract me enough, not worry about him. There's a lot of people that make YouTube videos that show a lot about how the world is becoming a better place in a lot of ways, and really just seems like the bad people just cannot win no matter what. So, plus I'm good at cooking. I can make things that are good, and I celebrate life. I'm 55 in a few months, so I guess some people would consider that retirement age. I do, for sure. As far as working like a full-time job, I don't see any need to work full-time after that age, because you're in danger of health situations. For example, like blood pressure. I mean, like the reasons that Lindsey Graham died, he flew across the ocean and his body was not moving enough on the plane during that long journey back. And because of being, lying down for too long on the airplane, I guess, I'm not sure how exactly he flew back. It could have been a small plane, where he wasn't able to move around much. And he had some problems with his, he could have had a burst blood vessel or something like that in his arteries, and that that spread through his body, and they weren't able to stop it. So maybe he got home and he was celebrating the success of his journey and his feeling that Ukraine was going to win the war, and that the sanctions bill he wrote years ago was going to go through Congress and be passed very soon. Now it's just up to Donald Trump to enforce it. And if he doesn't become the enforcer of that bill, there's got to be hell to pay, one way or another.